Good evening. This is Daisuke Sasaki, an executive member of Japan Association of New Economy. And in this session 7, this is titled What's Beyond IoT? The Unprecedented Lifestyle that IoT can Achieve. As you may know, Wim from Cisco Systems is working on the project called Smart City Project as a pilot of IoE, meaning Internet of Everything. In this exciting project, everything in the city, such as parking lots, transportation, or lighting, is connected to the internet through Wi-Fi. So in this session, Wim is going to walk us through what's going on in this project and also how IoT can make our life better. So Wim, welcome to New Economy Summit, and please tell us. Please go ahead and tell us the future. Wim, come up on the stage.
Good evening. So before I'm going to talk about what's beyond IoT, I first want to share some numbers with you how impactful IoT already is. We estimate that at this moment, around the globe, 15 billion devices are connected to the internet. That's how we define what is really an IoT component. We expect that at this moment around 300,000 devices are being connected every hour. That is 30 million a week, and that is exponential. And you will hear the word exponential being used a lot in the future, because it's all about growth. It's not linear, it's exponential. We estimate 50 billion devices to be connected by the end of this decade. We are here also to talk a lot about entrepreneurship. So IoT as an industry is now $2.3 trillion. So the IoT industry collectively around the world is $2.3 trillion worth. Venture capitalists, we estimate that last year $1.6 billion was invested in startups. $1.6 billion invested in startups. More than 200 companies came to the surface. So we have 3 standard bodies around IoT. There is smart regulation going on. And we have industry consortiums, 7. And so that are all proof points that IoT is becoming a mature industry. Also, what I have to say is that probably the biggest impediment, the biggest obstacle that we have, and the only thing that can delay or de-accelerate the rise of IoT is going to be security. And security is a big risk. I want to address that up front. I'm not going to speak a lot about it, but it's a challenge, but you can also see it as an opportunity. Because the next wave of startup companies are awfully around the opportunity of security. And security, cybersecurity also is going to be a next billion-dollar type of industry. So it's not just about the things. And that everything that gets connected to the internet is what we say lights up, and it's starting to produce data. So we're going to enter in what we call a decade of data. Data is the new gold. Companies that can mine data will prosper. The big questions are, who owns the data? At this moment, we estimate that around the globe, 16 exabytes of data are flowing over the internet. Any idea how much an exabyte is? An exabyte is 10 to the power of 18. And if you make it physical, if you take, you still remember DVDs, what that was? That's what we used a couple of years ago to listen to music. If you would load a Boeing 747 full with DVDs, and then you have to think that you need 15,000 of these planes, then the data collected on all these DVDs together is what 1 exabyte is. So at this moment we talk about 60 exabytes generated every month. And the interesting thing is that at this moment, 37% is coming from the industry, from industrial applications. And that's the part that's accelerating most, and that's where we see the biggest growth. We expect that in 3 years from now, the industrial side will be as big as the consumer side, and then starts taking over. So also by 2020, we expect 40% of data will come from sensors. Last year, the world shipped 24 billion sensors, and it's further increasing. Sorry, I took a German car here and not a Japanese car. A BMW 7 produces 1 terabyte of data an hour. If we go to autonomous cars, it's going to be 1 gigabyte of data every second. So imagine what that will mean for the load of the internet. A city like Singapore generates several terabytes of data every day. And in the end, and that is really what we have to get used to, it's not about the data. It is about information. And that what can you extrapolate from data? How can you make that information knowledge? And then basically wisdom. And with that wisdom, how can you take better informed decisions? How can you run a company more productive? How can you run a city more efficient and make it more livable and more productive, not only economically, but also socially and environmentally? And so data, information, knowledge, wisdom is going to be a data decade. Did you know when the terminology of the Internet of Things emerged? It was in 1998. And we today live in 2015. Why took it so long before the Internet of Things really became big, bold, here and now, and will be a technology that will change lives, that will change, we raise our children, how we will perceive education, how we will practice healthcare. The big breakthrough for the Internet of Things was the opportunity to monetize. And we monetize via apps. If you see these numbers, the explosion of applications that you can run on the cell phone, that you can run on an iPad, that you can run in the edge, that you can run in the cloud, is also exponential. If you think about it, on a global basis, 100 movies are released every week, 250 books, and 15,000 new apps. A lot of startup companies, it's not expensive to start a startup. You can take your systems from the cloud, your 2 or 3 friends, and then friends, diverse of course, together with an idea, and you can scale to $1 billion business in 2 or 3 years. It's happening day after day. And so we're moving from a web-based world to an app-based world. The estimations are that at this moment, an average citizen connected to the internet spends 2 hours a day on apps, looking at apps, using apps, the weather, the stock market, education, information. And I have two kids, 2 sons of 15 and 18 years old. They spend a lot more than 2 hours a day on apps. And they basically have only 2 statuses in life. They either asleep or they are online. You recognize that? They use a different language, they talk different, they learn different, they basically live different. So, things, data, apps, 3 elements that are going to change the world, and that will be more than just IoT. So what is beyond IoT? And we basically call it the 4th phase of the internet. Cisco was established 30 years ago. We are 30 years old, or at my age, we start saying 30 years young. And we basically started with connectivity. And we digitized access to information. It's not that long ago. It's only 30 years that 3,000 devices were connected to the internet. And today, 15 billion, and we connect 300,000 an hour. Then we went to the networked economy, and we started to digitize business processes, self-service, book your own travel. I know when we started all these changes, there was a lot of resistance in society. And that a lot of middlemen were eliminated, and people started to talk about, but that will take away jobs. But new jobs have been created. And we're moving up in the stack and in the knowledge economies around the world. So after the network economy, we came to where we are now, the digitization of interaction, social networking, Facebook, Google, you name them. It are immersive experiences that we start digitizing. So what is beyond IoT? The fourth phase of the internet, and we simply call it the Internet of Everything. We're going to digitize the world. And we will not just connect things, we will also connect people. And we estimated it's 3 to 5 years out that we will get smart drugs. You take a pill, and the pill will go through your body and send out of data. And so people will not just be connected via the web, PCs, access, via smartphones, that's via apps. Your body will be connected in healthcare. And think about it. The most precious thing that you have in life is your body. And what do you know about it? Almost nothing. So it's a big opportunity in healthcare to start preactive data and basically proactive maintenance on your body, to prevent diseases and to live longer with a better quality. So all these things together, so whether it's a country, whether it's a city, whether it's a company, whether it's a home, whether it's your body, a person, everything will be digitized. So what I want to show here in this picture, that I was born and raised in the Netherlands, in the city of Rotterdam. My father was an architect, but he was a physical architect. He built buildings, he built schools, the airports. And when I go back to my home city, to Rotterdam, I can still imagine that I was sitting with my father on the kitchen table, and what he was sketching and drawing has been built. But building a city takes a lot of time, and to establish a city, and you constantly build it and expand it. As we talked about a data culture, we call ourselves, a company like Cisco and our partners, we are digital architects. And we're going to put the digital overlay over a physical infrastructure with the cloud, with services, with platforms. And then you create integrated operation centers if you transform the data in information, in knowledge, in wisdom. You create smart cities, smart hospitals, smart highways, smart factories. And you're going to improve the sustainability economically, socially, and environmental. I heard somebody say in one of the panels today that the cloud will be forever, and I can't imagine what will be beyond. What we will see beyond is that with that enormous amount of data, 60 exabytes a month already, you can't process that all in the cloud. So what I want to introduce with you is a terminology that we call the fog. It's low to the ground. We're all from Silicon Valley, San Francisco, a lot of fog. But we estimate that 40% of the data that will be generated will be stored, will be processed, and will be actionable in the edge. And it's going to be a decentralized data architecture. And, I think Japan is leading in adapting that culture of the fog and not trying to get everything to the clouds. And that we had an alliance with Toshiba. A couple of months ago, we opened an innovation center, and they started already spreading that whole concept of the fog. Having applications, being able to run them at any place, at any time, at any geolocation in the world, in the edge, in the cloud, it's going to be completely transparent where applications will be run. So, fog computing, that will be beyond IoT and beyond the cloud, and distributed data architecture. And that will change a lot of business processes. And I don't have to explain a lot because we have great entrepreneurs here with you today and tomorrow at Lyft, Uber, and they are transforming an industry. at the pace of change, and that Uber was the first American company that unified Europe in a strike. Because regulation is not ready for it. And that it's the pace of change that is exponential, and you can scale a business model because it's virtually, in a couple of years, around hundreds of cities around the world. So photography, as an example, we will all agree is completely digitized. Who is making pictures nowadays on film? And then not just on the consumer side, but also on the professional side in hospitals. That X-rays are completely digitized. But the fact is that the company who invented photography, Kodak, is bankrupt. So the fear of not trying, not experimenting, not embracing technology as a key enabler of process change and opportunity and value creation, companies who don't try that will be left behind. So think about now, only 1% of what can be connected is connected. So we see the value that the Internet of Everything and connecting and digitalization of countries, of companies, will create an opportunity of 19 trillion. 19 trillion. That is the same as the absolute GDP of the US.
これは向こう10年間のアメリカの GDP と同額の規模です。
20 in the private sector, 40 in the public sector, and the big elements are new revenue creation, innovation, new business models, new opportunities, citizen services, as an example, a complete new opportunity. We estimate it to be a $3 trillion market. Supply chain, 2.7 billion. Asset utilization, that an average car is used 2% of its lifetime, only 2%. And so the sharing economy and to share assets will have an immense productivity and utilization improvement. So we have made the same estimation for Japan. And we estimate that in Japan, total value at stake in the next decade is around 870 billion. The two biggest ones, public sector and manufacturing. And specifically manufacturing, and we talked a lot about Germany, about 4.0, but Japan also has that enormous opportunity to unleash a potential of almost $250 billion in manufacturing. It will take a lot of collaboration. Nobody can do this alone. It will need smart regulation, initiatives, startup companies. And so Cisco is very proud as a company. We are 20 years here in Japan. We employ 1,200 people. We have trained more than 47,000 people who find jobs in certifications, CCNAs and CCIEs. We are also going to invest more in Japan, in startups. We have done our first investment. We have a $100 million investment fund, and we go from a conservative investor in phase 3 or phase 4 to being also an angel investor. And so people who are interested, reach out to us. And we want to further embrace and start up this fantastic opportunity of the Internet of Everything. So IoE, the Internet of Everything, requires reinvention. And I have a couple of examples here, and I want to gain some time for you because the organization is a little bit overrun. So I'm going to use one of them, and that's the city of Barcelona. And the city of Barcelona had the Olympics in 1992, and that was the start of a whole new renaissance of innovation in the city. Around 2000, they started to embrace these concepts of urbanization, the Internet of Everything. And since then, they are pioneering smart lighting, smart buses, smart water, smart bus stops, smart parking. They have created 1,500 new companies, entrepreneurial, created 44,000 new jobs. And then the value at stake, they publicly talk about this, at 3.6 billion. And they have a vice mayor who overlooks all the silos and all the investments. It's a complete new business model. And Barcelona got the prize for the smartest city in the world now. And the mayor, a politician, he's now one of the 50 most influential businessmen in the Fortune 100 list. But you know, a video shows much more than 1,000 words. So if you can start the video of Barcelona as a testimonial of a smart city.
As the world continues to urbanize, with 180,000 people a day moving into cities, the competition between cities will continue to grow economically, environmentally, and even socially. The cities that embrace technology will surface as the winners.
Think about it. Only 1% of what can be connected is connected today.
接続できる
The internet of everything has arrived and is ready to change the world.
Cisco is extremely excited about Barcelona because the city is utilizing the Internet of Everything. By connecting its people and things to a city Wi-Fi, Barcelona is creating new services, richer experiences, and unprecedented economic opportunity for its people, for its businesses, and for its partners.
Barcelona is a social dream, and technology is able to make this social dream possible.
We face in Barcelona the very same problems that every city in the world faces. So we want to tackle those problems with technology.
What we're trying to put in place is a common solution for all the cities of the world.
It is estimated that 40% of traffic in city centres is caused by cars trying to find a parking space. Now, in-ground parking sensors communicate with devices in cars to help vehicle owners quickly find an available spot.
Putting sensors in parking spots allow us to get less cars, less traffic, people happy, so that the city becomes a more livable place.
We have to make it possible for people to understand that internet might be changing their daily life to improve it.
We transform the experience of wasting your time waiting for the bus into a full contact with the city. People can find information on routes for the bus, plus information on the area, business, commerce, shows.
Barcelona's citizens not only enjoy the smart bus stop experience, but are also able to maintain their Wi-Fi connectivity while on the bus or underground train. This allows citizens to get the same sensation of connectivity as they get at home. Understanding that much of a city's energy waste comes from less than optimal use of lighting, Barcelona is installing highly efficient streetlights which are dynamically managed to save energy, optimize maintenance, and provide a safe environment for citizens. A city-wide network of sensors provides city officials with concrete information so that they can make decisions based on real-time data.
Getting information on the flow of citizens, on noise, on pollution, on traffic, on weather conditions allows cities to streamline the city operations, reduce costs, and also improve overall sustainability. Economic sustainability, social sustainability, and environmental sustainability.
Barcelona can generate a blueprint of what the cities can become, and this is what gives full sense to what we're doing in Barcelona right now.
Technology is for people, technology is for using it, and technology is for improving citizens' lives. We are sure that the Barcelona of the future will be even much better than it is now.
Smart cities represent places where people will want to live. By connecting the unconnected, cities will be completely transformed. These are the cities that will harness the power of the Internet of Everything.
So what do you think? Thank you. Think about the opportunities in Japan, the Olympics coming, because, you know, for me, a stadium is a mini city. A stadium, like we have the stadium with Rakuten here, that we have enabled Wi-Fi. You can order beer, food online. You can have better exits, integrate with the city, leaving parking places. It's an enormous opportunity. And that for Japan, to go after cities, to go after the smart Olympics and the most connected Olympics ever. So what will it take in closing? I heard the previous speakers say in the small plenary session that we had, failure is not trying. And that failure should be allowed. We go in a decade with a lot of startup companies of rational experimentation. It's going to be the decade of experimentation. Imagine if you do one thing, you have only 5% chance of success. If you do 20 things, your chances go to 60%. If you do 50 things, your chance of success is 90%. But if you do 50 things, 48 will fail. So how do you create that failure and that acceptance and the learning and moving on? Not trying is failure. Failure is no failure if you learn out of it. Co-innovation, rapid prototyping, that's going to be the name of the game. Trying, experimenting, see what sticks, and then suddenly it virtualizes and you have a $1 billion opportunity. So trying concepts, using technology as a key enabler for a better life will make innovation exponentially. Thank you very much.